RockEyez would like to welcome Gregg Livesay. Hey, man, what's up?
How are you, Brian? Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. Let's go back to some of the research that I did. First off with a band called Vandal, It's Only Love. Tell me a little bit about that band.
Vandal was an original band out of Westchester that in around 1990 was looking to replace their guitar player.
Right.
And I went in on an audition and got the job and stayed with them in two different forms, I think for about 2 years.
Right.
Roughly. Well, actually, no. Let me take that back. Maybe about a year total.
Uh-huh.
A year total, yeah.
Right.
And they were an all-original band. I thought they were very good for the time that they were in and put a lot of effort into that band, but it didn't work out, unfortunately.
Right. Now, the next band, Saintly Sinner, in 1983, you did 2 demos?
I joined them actually late 84 through 85. We did one demo that I was on,
right,
and the other previous stuff was with 2 different guitar players. I was the last guitar player for them before they split up. I actually left the band to go join something else, but yeah, I was on one demo. And that went on, I think 1 or 2 of the songs went on New Renaissance Records. They put out an EP and featured us on there, but that was kind of a short-lived thing, maybe about a year and a half.
Right. And what kind of music was that? That
was pure 80s heavy metal.
Uh-huh.
I mean, those guys, when I remember going into that room and listening to their material, it was just really, balls out heavy stuff. They were absolutely influenced by Iron Maiden and Priest and all those bands that were, prevalent at that time. And, I was playing in a kind of a Ozzy Randy Rhoads tribute band at that time, and they heard me playing downstairs and came up to me and asked me if I wanted to audition for them. They had also lost their guitar player.
Right.
So I went in and got that job and kind of forced them to go all original. I didn't want to do covers anymore. I was tired of it. So we wrote all original songs, very heavy stuff. I was an average player at best back then. I really wasn't great at that point. So,
wow.
Yeah.
How about Silent Listener? That was 1986, Veterans of the Fight?
Yes, that was the band that I went to after I left Saintly Sinner. I was in a bar in town, and a couple of guys from that band approached me, and it's funny, like all these bands, they're just losing their guitar player, or they needed somebody, and these guys were in the process of recording a 4-song EP with Bruce Robbins, who was the engineer for the live Rainbow album. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the green cover, and Richie Blackmore is sitting on, I think, the edge of the stage. I forget what the hell it's called, but at any rate, he was the main engineer. He had a name, and he was up at Minot Studios in White Plains, and they asked me if I would be willing to come in and record the solos for that record.
Right.
And I said, sure. So I went in, I did it over a period of 2 weeks, and then shortly after that, they asked me if I wanted to be a member, and I said, okay.
Right, cool. Then Livesay started, I guess, 91?
Yes, after Vandal broke up. By that point, I had basically had it with joining these various bands, and it was weird. Like, they would come up to me and say, hey, you want to play with us? You want to audition? I would go for the audition. I get in the band. I put everything I had into the band. And then all of a sudden, the guys that had asked me to join were now quitting. So by the time that happened with Vandal, and it happened with Vandal twice, the first version of it quit on me, but the bass player stayed and begged me to stay. He would put it back together again. We did.
Right.
He lasted 8 shows, then he quit.
Wow.
So that was the end of Vandal, and that just really broke my spirit. And at that point, I really was just thinking about not being in a band anymore. I had it.
Right.
And everybody said to me, why don't you start your own band, Greg? You should just do your own thing. And I thought about it for a while. I wasn't sure if I could do it, but, I ended up being successful, finding some good people, and here we are.
Cool.
Yeah.
It must have been frustrating, time after time, I guess bands not working out and stuff like that. Did you think about ending music and going somewhere else?
No, I have always loved playing the guitar, and if I was never in a band again, I would still play. It's my love of the instrument. It's not about anything else. I have always loved playing that thing because it's a part of me. So it was never about girls or money or anything like that. It was never about that for me. It was always about me just expressing myself through that instrument.
Right.
So I'll always do that, regardless if I'm playing in front of an audience or just in my room. It doesn't matter to me.
Right. Now, next came 1992, Live and Let Rock, a demo at Northlake Sound with Ed Solan. I've been there quite a bit of times with Richie Scarlett. And, how was it working with Ed?
Ed was great. He was a really interesting guy. He was very professional. He was a great engineer, actually. He really knew that room, and it was really a beautiful studio, right? Wasn't it? It was in a house, It was a nice setting. It was easy for me to get to. It was in Westchester. I lived in Westchester originally, so it was very convenient. I had a lot of good sessions in there. I loved working with Ed. He was really good with getting good sounds for guitar and drums, things like that.
Right.
And that demo we did, it really did a lot for us. Our second gig, it got us a gig with opening for Steve Morse.
Wow.
So, yeah, we got a lot of positive response out of that. So it had some legs for a while, got our name on the map. We got a lot of gigs out of that little tape. It was funny, but wow. It was money well spent.
Right. Wow. And then 1996, Livesay self-titled disc came out?
Yes, we had decided that we should go in and do a real CD for the band. And my drummer at the time, Keith Michaels, who's in Tango Down now, he and I played together for many years. He was actually in Vandal with me, then came to Livesay. He knew Paul Orofino, who owns Minot Studios. No, I'm sorry, not Minot. I'm misspoken there. Millbrook Studios up in Millbrook, New York. And he brought me up to meet Paul. We discussed what we wanted to do, and then we went in there and banged out a record. I think we did about 10 songs, and it took us probably, I would say, close to a year to get it done. And we released that and got a lot of notice out of that too. We had a few deals thrown our way that we didn't take because they weren't great deals, but at least we knew we were making some noise, and we got a lot of shows out of that too.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Excellent. Then Darkest Hour came out in 2000. Tell me a little bit about that.
Darkest Hour was the second record we did in 2000. At that time, I made 2 personnel changes. Pete White left the band, the original singer, and my bass player, Pete Ronda, also left the band for different reasons, but we parted ways. And I brought in Alan Pachoki on bass, and Anthony Ragobuto, who has sang with Seven Witches recently, he came in as the singer. And I tried to write material with Tony, my keyboard player, Tony Stahl, a little heavier than what we did on the first record. We were kind of changing direction a little bit.
Right.
I like the melodic stuff, but I wanted it to be heavier. And I thought the title track of the record, Darkest Hour, was a fantastic song. It still holds up today too. I really love it. And there's a couple of songs on there that are great. And one of them got us noticed by a record company in Japan, Taicheku Records, I think. They contacted us. They're one of the metal labels over there at the time, Tokyo, and they said that one of the songs on the record was being played every 10 minutes on the radio. And they offered us some ridiculous deal that they wanted to lock us in for 3 years, but they wanted ownership of all our songs, all the rights, all that other stuff, and I refused.
Yeah.
I said no, and that was that.
The deal.
I hear
that
they
from
wanted
a lot of people.
Yeah. So I just said no thanks, and that was that.
Right.
So.
Wow. And then in 2009, a compilation came out, Shredding Across the World Volume 2. You had a track on there?
Yeah, somebody contacted me. This is when MySpace was big, before Facebook. I loved MySpace. I still do. I miss it because I think it was way better than Facebook. But at any rate, somebody contacted me on there. I can't remember the guy's name. Said he was friends with this guy from Ohio, Michael McDowell, who owned a record label, Shred Guy Records, and that he was looking for guitar players to be on this album. And he had Tracy Guns on there, John Jownese, Pete Paccio, Adrian English, Ray Luzier was playing on their drums. You know, there were some names on there. And he said, I think he would love this song. I had written a instrumental called Aphasia. It was like one of the first ones I ever did on a record. I'm usually not an instrumental player. I kind of shy away from that because I think that, you know, so many guys have done it. What could I possibly do that's going to improve on it? But I tried, and he sent the song to Mike. Mike contacted me, said he really wanted it. Would I give him permission to use it? And I said, sure. Yeah. And he put it on Shredding Across the World Volume 2, and you know, it was cool to be on there. I mean, the players that were on there, Mike Abdow is now playing with Fate's Warning. You know, there's a few guys on there that were pretty well known. So for me, it was a real honor to be on that.
Right. Now came Awaken the Giant in 2010. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, Awaken the Giant was our third CD as a band. Again, we had another personnel change, a singer. We lost Anthony, and we got Dean Sternberg, who is kind of a multi-talented musician. He's mainly a guitar player, but he can sing. He agreed to help us out for the album. This album that we wrote was very progressive in its flavor, I guess you would say. We got a little heavier and a little bit more technical than Darkest Hour, and we were trying to go after a European market because we figured that over here in the United States, you know, it's such a tough market, but maybe we could write our material and try to appeal to the European people. Yeah, so we did that. Got a little crazy in some of the songs. Some of them are long. But, I mean, the thing is, we were kind of frustrated. We can play, and we wanted to show that. So I gave Tony, you know, the latitude to play as much as he wanted to. He and I did a lot of stuff together, a lot of solos together, a lot of trading of stuff. Guy's gifted beyond words. I mean, he's a great keyboard player. And I think it really tested everybody as far as their skill. It was tough for Tim. Certainly Alan had his parts in there. It was sophisticated for us, but it's a great record. Right. It's just way different than what we were doing. You know, at that time, Symphony X was getting big, Pagan's Mind, Camelot, all these bands were coming up, and my guys were advising me, you know, that this is the way we should go. Uh-huh. So we gave it a shot, and there you have it. Right,
yeah. Wow. And then we have Frozen Hell on Kivel Records in 2016. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, you don't really have to, but I know a lot about it. But I want to hear your version.
Well, at that point in 2014, I felt that I had taken the band as far as I could take it. Right. So I approached John Kivel. We have known each other for many years, and I sat down and I spoke to him. He was very open to having a discussion with me, and he had a really good vision about where he saw the band and where it should go. And he suggested that, you know, we would do a record together. He would kind of steer the band back to our Darkest Hour period, where we would be more listener-friendly, more semi-commercial, appeal to a bigger audience. And under his advisement, we selected some old Livesay songs that we released on the first album. We redid them, kind of, you know, jazzed them up a little bit, improved some parts. And then we had some other songs from outside writers that were given to us that we changed a little bit here and there, but basically kept them pretty close to the way they were presented to us. And we went into the studio and banged out the record. And John put together all the artwork, and he's like a one-man army, John. He's really pretty amazing at what he does.
Right.
And once he gets on a mission, he definitely sees it through, and he certainly did an unbelievable job. I mean, the product is really incredible. It was a different way that we recorded, though. We didn't go into a full-blown studio and do it the way I had done it up at Millbrook. This was all just in a very small studio and doing everything with software, which I've never done before. Right. It was a little different for me, but in the end, I think it worked out really well.
Cool. It's a great package.
Yeah.
Great package. In 2016, you played live at Rock and Skull. Tell me a little bit how that show went.
That was an amazing experience. I have to tell you, the first night when we got to Chicago and I walked into that place, I was really blown away by the size of it. And then seeing all these famous bands between L.A. Guns and the guys from Hardline and the guy Great White and I mean, normally I play with nationals before. I've done plenty of them.
Right.
But it's only one national that I'm playing with, not a room full of them. You know what I mean? Like one after the other is a famous band. So I was a little taken aback by it. I was like, I can't even believe that I'm here, and I can't even believe that in 2 days I'm going to be up there playing in front of these people. Wow. So it was an amazing experience. It was everything that John said it would be. He had been prepping us for this for about a year in advance, and the people were fantastic. Every night was packed. They were music lovers, for sure. They were receptive to every single band that was there. We were new faces. Nobody really knew much about us. They had heard that we were coming. And after we played, I mean, we had a meet and greet for probably about an hour and 45 minutes or something like that, and we sold out. We sold out our album at that show.
Excellent.
So yeah, it was a fantastic experience for us.
Wow.
Really, something I had never done before.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Man, I missed that show. You know.
Yeah, but it was John. Brought us there, and he had his booth set up, and he was phenomenal. He and his wife were great. I mean, his wife was unreal. She was by his side for all the time that he was there, working the show, and they both work really, really hard for their artists, I have to say.
Cool. Now, April 28th, you have a show coming up, Y&T, Loudness, Tango Down, another Kivel band, and you're playing the Chance in Poughkeepsie. What can fans expect?
Well, they can expect us to go on first.
Right. Yeah.
That's the one thing they can expect. I think that it's going to be probably either sold out or close to sold out. I think it's going to be a great night. We're going to get up there and do pretty much the same set we played in Chicago. And I think we'll probably have about 45 minutes. And it's going to be with a new singer. Mike Gill will be on lead vocals for us, and I'm anxious to see how we're going to gel live. But I know we're working real hard, rehearsing, and I think it's going to be a great show. I know Tango Down is going to have their engine banging on all cylinders, and what can you say about Loudness and Y&T? I mean, those guys are legends. I'm hoping I get to meet Akira and Dave Menichetti.
Right.
I'd love to meet those two guys.
Wow.
I mean.
Yeah. That's an experience in itself. Tell me about June 3rd, the Guitar Summit.
June 3rd is really special because it involves Jimi Bell, who, I mean, the guy is a legend. Jimi is a legend and just an amazing guitar player. I mean, he's frighteningly good. he's frightening to watch. I've never seen a guy who has that much energy on the guitar. I get tired watching him, and I always joke with him. I say, do me a favor, you got to leave some notes for me because you're using every note. In creation, there's nothing left. But I will get a chance to share the stage with he and Joe Stump, who's another amazing guitar player. And it's something that we had talked about for a while. Jimi and I have always gone back and forth about maybe recording an album together, doing a show together. We have done 2 shows together. We did fly out with them to Colorado and played a show with House of Lords out there, and then we played at the Chance with them as well.
Right.
And we were hoping to play Rock and Skull with them, but they weren't able to get out there, unfortunately. But I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, Jimmy's just a great guy all the way around. You've known him, obviously,
right.
a long time. I mean, you can't get any more personable than he is. And I love him. He's just a fantastic person, incredible guitar player, and I so look forward to being able to get up there and jam with him.
Right.
So.
Wow. Actually, he's actually the one who kind of approached me in talking with you after our past interview. So, like, I know what kind of guy he is. Sentimental, sweet, just all around great guy.
Yeah, and believe me, I've met guys at his level on both sides of the fence.
Right.
And some of them are really cool, and some of them, or most of them, really aren't that cool. But right. He is an exception to the rule. I mean, that's why he's so loved by everybody. But, I mean, just being able to watch him play, I've seen him so many times now, and I learn something every time I watch him play. He's just an amazing, amazing player, and so diversified between all the different styles that he's interested in and accomplished in. It's really incredible. And I've never seen anybody pick that fast. And I'm talking about, like, Michael Battio's speed. I mean, that's the only guy I can really think of that I can compare him to.
Right.
I'm just amazed by how fast he can pick.
Right.
Yeah, and how articulate he is,
Mm-hmm.
It's as a guitar player, the longer you play, you really get to appreciate the small aspects as well as the big ones. And he just has everything. He's got all his ducks in a row. He absolutely does. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Now, after them two projects in April and June, what's left for the rest of the year? Anything?
We have aligned ourselves with a promoter who's going to get us out into Long Island and New Jersey, and the other, I think, further up the line, we're probably going to go into Rhode Island, Massachusetts, places like that. I have not played out as much as, obviously I would like to, because I have been going through personnel changes, mostly with my singers.
Right.
I've had a singer who's been great, and then they burn out, and then I get another guy, burns out, another guy, and so forth and so on, or musical differences, whatever. So it's been hard. And I'll tell you, I say this all the time in any interview I've ever done. It's, to me, the business is not the hard part. Everybody knows the business is tough. It's keeping your band together. That is the toughest part of all of this.
Yeah.
It is absolutely the toughest part. That is the biggest challenge, is keeping everybody happy, keeping everybody healthy, and keeping everybody on the same page. It's an absolute work in progress every day.
Wow.
So,
definitely.
Yeah, but I'm hoping I've got this new guy now, Mike Gill, who's a great guy. He's a great vocalist. He's really enthusiastic about playing with us, and I'm hoping that we'll develop a future with him. It looks to be very promising.
Cool.
So.
Cool. That sounds great. Well, Gregg, it was great talking to you, and a lot of information I gathered today. And, I appreciate you doing the interview with us, and congratulations once again. Would you like to say anything to the fans in conclusion?
Just hope that everybody will come and see us April 28th. That's a Friday night with the gig at the Chance with Y&T, Loudness, Tango Down, and ourselves. And also the New England Guitar Summit, June 3rd. That's a Saturday night. That will be at Bleachers in Bristol, Connecticut. Joe Stump, Jimmy Bell, myself, and a brilliant, brilliant young guitar player opening for us, Joey Concepcion. Amazing, amazing player. Come on down and check it out. You'll be blown away by all these guys. They're fantastic. And I'm not speaking about myself. I'm talking about them. Me, I'm scared to death of all of them. So.
Wow. Great, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the talk.
Thank you very much, Brian. You have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.